Let's talk about Brian McKnight and his cold demeanor during and before and even after his son's death. Everything is alleged and fair use. Niko McKnight, the estranged son of singer Brian McKnight, has died at the age of 32 after a 2-year battle with cancer. His death was announced by his mother Julie McKnight and his uncle Claude McKnight on social media. Niko was a musician like his father and a photographer, known for his unique blend of soulful melodies and heartful lyrics. Niko's death has brought renewed attention to the estrangement between him and his father. Their relationship was absolutely awful, but I completely understand as I have been in Niko's position. Brian McKnight has previously spoken publicly and very coldly about his strained relationship with Niko and his other children from his first marriage, labeling them as a product of sin. At that time, Niko had responded to his father's comments, expressing his hurt and confusion. Niko, coming to terms with the end of his life, the only thing he wanted was to mend his relationship with his father. He wanted his father there, and his father couldn't be bothered. Let's take a listen.
The R&B singer Brian McKnight is under fire for rejecting his dying son. Unfortunately, one of his sons, Niko McKnight, passed away recently. He passed away from cancer. He was battling cancer for 2 years. And according to Page 6, Brian McKnight did not once reach out to the family. He did not contact or see Niko at all while he was suffering and dying. This is honestly just terrible. It's terrible. And I'm pretty sure some of y'all may have heard about Brian McKnight's feud with his own children. He has rejected his children. In his words, he claims that he stopped dealing with his children because of their behavior, and he didn't want to financially pay for his grown sons. He wanted his own sons to live on their own. So that's one of the reasons why he stopped dealing with his sons. Also, he stopped dealing with his daughters as well. And he claims that the daughter's mother kind of blocked contact. And he actually accused one of his daughters of having an incestuous relationship with her older cousin. And the daughter filed a lawsuit against him for defamation, which was settled. But Brian claims that these are some of the reasons why he doesn't deal with his children. And I believe he has like maybe 5 biological children. I know Brian McKnight Jr., who is the oldest. He has Niko, who just passed away, unfortunately. He has another one named Clyde McKnight, I believe, and a daughter named Brianna, who's the one who filed that lawsuit against him. And then I think he has another biological daughter, but he doesn't acknowledge these children. He only acknowledges the children with his new wife, Leilani. He claims Leilani's son and his daughter as his own. He says his stepdaughter, Julia, is the perfect daughter he always wanted. He also says his stepson, Jack, is the real Brian McKnight Jr. in his hashtag. He also welcomed a new child with Leilani called Brian Jr. And a couple of weeks ago when he was asked how many sons does he have, he says, I have 3 sons, Jack, Brian Jr., Kikoa, Mato. I believe Kikoa was the infant that he and his wife lost. But these are the only sons he acknowledges. He acknowledges the ones that he has with his second wife, Leilani, but he doesn't acknowledge his other children. And when he was asked about his other children, he just acknowledged this comment saying that they come from evil families.
In order to live a life that you love, you have to get rid of the evil and the negativity, even if that evil and negativity is related. The children that I do not currently have relationships with, I don't post about them. Instead, I post about the children with whom I do have relationships, with whom I am proud of, and about whom I want to share my pride in their accomplishments. I don't live in the past. Another thing a lot of people have been talking about is the lawsuit my adult daughter Brianna brought against me a few years ago. In 2020, my biological daughter Brianna sued me for defamation and breach of contract, and I agreed to pay her $318,000 with no admission of any wrongdoing whatsoever. She dismissed $1 million case in exchange for payment of $318,000 with no admission that I did anything wrong and no requirement that I retract my statement or remove it from the internet. I did not defame her. I made no false statements. I made up no stories. I want to address the abandonment issue for the last time. I never abandoned anyone. Our estrangement was mutual, and I changed my will the next day. I make absolutely no apologies for naming my infant son Brian. I want him and the world to know that he is the one who is my true legacy.
Brian McKnight is extremely cold-hearted. I could never imagine treating any one of my children or grandchildren like that, ever. But there are some parents out there that are just this cold. Let's read a few of Niko's tweets from last year about the situation. Niko writes, when I was about to die in the hospital from complications from my cancer, I just wanted to bury the hatchet and hear him say he loves me. And he told me he couldn't arbitrarily tell me he loves me. Still cuts me so deep. Sometimes I wonder if my dad's karma is my close proximity to death. Like maybe if I end up dying, it'll release him from this grip of evil. If I could just have one more group hug between me, my brother, my mom, and my dad, I'd truly be ready. Every day I feel so embarrassed by how things went with our dad. When you're faced with a situation like mine, it quickly shows you what really matters, and family matters the most. I miss my family so much, everyone. We were bad children, sure, yes, but my sisters have always deserved better. They don't deserve this outright disrespect. Hurt us all day. You don't get to be a piece of shit forever and still skate by with all that we know. Niko writes, we saved that man from federal prison. That's all I'm going to say. But after all of this, I still love him so much because I know there's my dad in there somewhere. But he's a drone now. So fucking sad. Miss you, Dad. This is extremely sad and heartbreaking. When Niko passed, he was surrounded by his family, minus, of course, Brian McKnight. He has yet to even acknowledge the passing of his son. His Uncle Claude, however, did have something to say. Let's take a listen.
This morning I found out that my nephew, Niko McKnight, passed away. He'd been bravely battling cancer for the last 2 years or so. And I have a lot of feelings right now. I'm not going off a script or anything like that. Just going to be raw with how I'm feeling. Niko was one of those amazing kids who was quirky and curious and ridiculously talented. Amazing singer, an amazing guitar player, had a great eye, was a photographer. And just one of those kids that, at least in my estimation, was somebody you always wanted to be around. And so it really sucks that he's no longer with us. Apparently there's so much hurt going on, or was so much hurt going on, that a lot of things didn't get resolved. And again, I want to go back to Niko. I know that kid had a lot inside, a lot eating at him for a long, long, long time. That may have contributed to what happened with him. What I do know is he's out of pain now. And so I can rejoice in the fact that he no longer has to go through the chemo and the radiation and everything else. But I just want to uplift that young man and say we will see him again one day. I love you, Niko. Uncle Claude.
This situation is extremely sad, but this makes way for a good discussion. I noticed often when there's a fractured relationship between parent and child, that child is always more so ready to forgive and mend fences. They crave and want that relationship with that parent. However, on the other side of things, the parent is completely disconnected. What do you all think about this? How do you think this should have been handled? What are your feelings? Let me know in the comment section. Also, make sure you like and share and subscribe. Put that notification bell on so you'll be notified anytime I go live, upload, or premiere. Be kind to one another. Unapologetically Mika, out.